This is Amit. Welcome to the lecture ninth of business management. We are in the chapter 2 of planning, chapter 2, that is planning and decision making. In the previous lecture, we have seen the meaning and definitions of planning, importance of planning, the advantages of planning, the different types of planning. Now, in this lecture, we are going to talk about the uh, steps that are involved in the planning process, components of planning or types of plans, then limitations of plans. So, let's look at the steps in planning or planning process. Most experts agree that the value of business planning lies in the planning process itself and not in the resulting plan. The process of planning can be explained in below points. So what they say is value of business plan. So overall planning depends on the planning process, how you plan. So you must have heard that when you want to achieve success, 80% of the time you should plan, and you should give room for execution. Just 20% would be the room for execution of it. That's the importance of planning in the business organization or anywhere in your personal life, in business, in profession, anywhere you go. So there are different steps that are defined to come up with the planning. If you follow the process of planning effectively, none of your plans will fail. None of your plans will fail. The first point in the step in the planning process is identification of the problem. The manager must identify the problem that calls for planning and action. If we do not know what is the problem that we need to solve, we won't be able to set any objective to solve it. And if there is no object to solve it, we won't be able to plan at all. So the basic and foremost important point is to have the problems defined or identifying the problems. Then you see that the figure 2.1 shows the planning process. In the planning process, you identify the problem, then you establish the objectives, then the premises are planned, then alternate course of actions are defined, arriving at best possible solutions, then constructing plans, then plan review, and again once you are done with that, again you plan for something else. So again it's a continuous cycle. It is a dynamic process. Second is establishment of objectives. A second step in the process of planning is to establish objectives. Objectives indicate the end point of what is to be done, where the primary emphasis is to be placed, and what is to be accomplished by the network of policies, procedures, rules, budgets, programs, etc. So once you identify the problem, you then set the objectives, what we need to achieve, and in achieving that, what are all resources that are required to be engaged in the entire course of action. Then third step in the planning process is establishment of the premises. The third step is to obtain agreement to utilize and discriminate critical planning premises. Premises are the future setting in which planning takes place. So premises is not just one room or one flat or one plant. It can be a set of objectives, a set of action points, set of different sources of capital, sources of utilization. Then the fourth step in planning process is searching alternative courses of actions. As I mentioned, when you plan to resolve something, you have to come up with different possible sources of actions, and so that the company can think about all the pros and cons of all the probable solutions that are defined or that are contributed by different people working in the organization. and then accordingly the working is done. Then the fifth point in the entire planning process is selection of an ideal course of action from the alternatives. As I have said that we have to come up with the best possible solutions. Then considering the facts, estimates, pros and cons of all the solutions, we need to decide on the best possible course of action from all the set alternatives. Then constructing plans. Plans are created and finalized in this step and deployed. They are communicated to the subordinates for appropriate action and execution. So constructing plans is nothing but sharing the plan with entire company or the highlighted source, then getting it implemented by the people. Then reviewing is the most important step in the entire planning process, because you cannot just plan or you cannot just implement. You have to see whether whatever you have planned for has been achieved or not. If the outcome is not up to the mark, then you have to think of having some other possible solutions to arrive at the best results. Then we will look at the components of planning process. In the components of planning process or the types of plans, first is objectives. Objectives are goals established to guide the efforts of the company and each of its sections and departments. In fixing objectives, the management has to determine both long-term objectives and short-term objectives. So the example is, as I mentioned, in case of long-term objectives, I want to have my company turnover of 5,000 crore in 5 years time. And in the short-term objectives, I would be setting up an objective of having 1,000 crore turnover in 1 year. So that way, company can decide on the long-term plans, short-term plans, and then accordingly take the actions. Then second component is policies. Policy making is an important part of the process of planning. Policies are generally statements or understanding which guide or channel thinking and decision making of the subordinates. So if there is a policy set in the organization, the employees understands what are the boundaries or what are the limitations they have to keep in mind while they think of planning, while they try to plan for the achievement of the goals. That's why planning, policy making is a very important thing. So that if thinking is like, you can start thinking and it's a never ending process. But when you have some boundaries set for your thinking, then you will be structured in thinking, in that thinking process, which helps you to arrive at the best possible solution. Procedures. Procedures are the third type of plans. Procedures establish customary methods of handling future activities, and in that they are planned guides for action or a manner in which a certain activity must be accomplished. So now, as the policies are defined, we know the objectives, the policies are defined for that. Now, how that should be implemented or how something should be done. For that, a detailed breakdown of all the steps is mentioned. What needs to be done as the first step in achieving it, then second step of doing it, then third step of doing it. So that way all the procedures are defined at minute level. Rules. A rule is a plan that lays down the required course of action with respect to a situation. It is in the nature of a decision made by the management regarding what is to be done and what is not to be done in a given situation. So the policies and rules, they go hand in hand. It's nothing. Policies are nothing but these are the rules set by the organization of doing something and of for not doing something. Programs. Programs are a complex set of policies, procedures, rules, tasks, assignments, and other elements necessary to carry out a given course of action. and they are ordinarily supported by necessary capital and operating budgets. This is self-explanatory. Strategy. Strategy is a special kind of plan formulated in order to meet the challenge of the policies of competitors. So, when you want to achieve something, you have to develop a strategy. You have to build a vision. Once you build a vision, you come up with the strategy to achieve that, achieve whatever you have visioned. Budget is a budget as a plan in a statement is a statement of expected results expressed in numerical terms. It represents a consolidated statement of forecast about the probable expenditure and revenue in each area of the company's business. So when you try to when you ask for some gift from your parents, they say that it's not in my budget. That means they are thinking about what are the expenses they have to incur right now, what is the benefit they are going to get in future because of those expenses, and if they feel that the returns that he is going to get, that is the revenue or returns that he is going to get after spending that much of money, is not good enough, they say that it's out of my budget. If it is affordable, if the expenses are going to reap benefits in future and those benefits are considerable in nature, then your parents would say, yes, I'm happy to buy that for you because we are going to get this much of money or this much of these many benefits in future. Then we will look at the limitations of planning. The lack of reliable or dependable information. As we have seen that planning is thinking about future, and future is uncertain. It's obviously that the reliability is huge on the information that is being provided to us. So the dependable information has to be there, otherwise the planning would fail. Internal inflexibilities and procedural rigidities. Business enterprises operate under a changing environment. Industries and units working under dynamic conditions and having to confront changes, move rapidly, face new problems and complications of instability. Internal inflexibilities dominate the enterprises, and the management tends to become bureaucratic and rule centered. All this makes planning job extremely difficult. So it's always the changing environment. As I had mentioned, that management has to think about plan B while implementing the plan. Otherwise, if you do not have any plan B available with you, then as soon as you fail in plan A, you go in silos and then you work accordingly. And then you have the fear of implementing the changes in the organization. Then the third limitation of planning is it's time consuming and expensive. So as it depends on some facts and figures, the planning team has to get the details from various departments, analyze the data, use some statistical techniques in analyzing the data, and then come up with the plan by looking at the actions we need to take. So it's a very time consuming and expensive process. Then planning premises may not be fully reliable. The basis and framework for future productions may be provided by planning premises. Premising is always a subject to a margin of error and guesswork, which reflects in various plans based on them. Then fifth point is philosophy of management and personnel. It can be a very serious limitation of planning. Traditional concepts and beliefs are so deeply rooted in the minds of employees that planning outside their views of philosophy becomes extremely difficult. This is a very important point. We have seen these things actually happening in the workplace. That if, let's say, the person is working in the organization for last say 20 years, and if there is a new joiner who it's been 1 or a couple of years time that person is working in the organization, then we have seen a huge difference in the behavior, opinion, or the way the changes are accepted is also totally different. So it's a very serious limitation that the philosophy of management and personnel may not match, and most of the times it doesn't match. Other factors that are the limitations to the planning process are it has a very little scope for the management to control external limitations. It is obvious that the external things are not in our control, and that's the main limitation of the planning process. So far we have seen the steps in the planning process, then the limitations of the planning process. Then we will look at the meaning of forecasting and definitions of it. The foundation for a business plan is the assumptions on what it is based on. So the assumptions has some base, and the foundation of the business plan depends on those assumptions. Assumption is merely an opinion about the future. So you are assuming, you are thinking of it. Then opinions depend on the individual's knowledge and expertise, and so the variety and depth of opinions varies accordingly. So the accuracy of the assumptions, or the dependability of the information shared by the resources, it depends on the experience of the person who is doing it, the knowledge of that person who is doing it. Peter F. Drucker stated with regard to relying on assumptions to predict the future, it will arrive and it will be different. Thus, Drucker clearly states that the future is extremely uncertain. Precise predictions about the future are impossible. Those are impossible. Then we will look at the definitions of forecasting. Lewis Allen mentioned definition of forecasting as it's a systematic attempt to probe the future by inference from known facts. The purpose is to provide management with information on which can base the planning decisions. Forecasting is forecasting the future, and when you are forecasting the future, we should know that it is uncertain and it may misbehave. The plans may fail. That's what it's being said by Lewis Allen. Then Lewis Alpen states that it's a systematic attempt to probe the future by inference from known facts helps to integrate all management planning so that unified overall plans can be developed into which divisional and departmental plans can be meshed. It enables a company to commit its resources with greatest assurance to profit over the long term. By helping to identify future demand patterns, it facilitates development of new products. Then, according to Henry Fayol, business forecasting includes both assessing the future and making provisions for it. So, when you are forecasting, you are actually looking at the future, you are assessing it, and then making provisions for it means, as you know that there will be losses in future, you will definitely plan to ensure that we don't incur the losses. So, it's making the provision for it. There are different steps involved in the forecasting process, identifying, developing the groundwork for future. So it's like identifying the objective that we have seen in the planning process. We have to understand or develop the groundwork for the future. Then estimating future business. Estimating on the basis of some facts and figures or historical data, we can come up with the business that will be there in future. Comparing actuals with estimated results. So again, variance analysis would be there. If the things are not moving in the direction we feel, then in that case there should be a plan B, or the manager should have the ability to control the situation. Improving the forecast process. The experience and practical help is required in making an accurate forecasting. The rational judgment and systematic analysis will certainly help in reducing the guesswork. This point is self-explanatory. So what we will do is we will start with the importance of forecasting now. Indicates probable earnings and expected profit and loss statement. So when you estimate, when you forecast the expenses, you forecast the earnings that would be there, you forecast how the share prices would be, how the earnings per share would be for the shareholders. So it's a very important role in planning. The discovery of business opportunity, the promoter has to look into possibilities of ascertaining the management of men, machine and materials to share the logic of earnings and expected P&L statements. Correctness of the management decisions. Correctness of the management decision depends upon sound forecasting. as you are forecasting, if your forecasts are not correct, the decisions the top management is going to take are going to be incorrect, and the management will fail in getting the objectives. Then regularity of production, maximum regularization of production is made possible by forecasting. Policy of counter cyclical capital acquisition. Accurate forecasting makes possible a policy of counter cyclical capital acquisition. Then the means of adaptability. Forecasting is also the best means of adaptability to the changing circumstances. Pivot and business sources, so business success. Sales forecasts are the pivot of success of a business. Good sales forecasting makes it possible to regulate output, the production cost, and helps to overcome short-term seasonal and long-term fluctuations. So in case of production forecast, if the production, whatever the forecast of the production is done, or production of sales is done, turnover, on that basis the company will forecast how much they want to produce. Now for producing the desired quantity, how much raw material is required, what are the services, what are the resources that are required to do that, they will be able to plan it correctly. So a correct sales forecast helps to have the correctness in the other forecast that the company is going to have. Now with this we will stop in this lecture, and in the future lecture I will be talking about the limitations of the forecasting, techniques of forecasting, the difference between planning and forecasting. So thank you. Bye.